Άγγελε, μου κάνεις πρέσβος. Pretending now it's dealing with the club. Yeah, you were walking, yes. Δεν θα πας προς Λίβανο.
Bien, buenos días y gracias por acudir a esta convocatoria en la que vamos a daros cuenta a los medios de comunicación del resultado de la reunión que acabamos de mantener los ministros del Interior y de Migraciones de Chipre, Grecia, Italia, Malta y España. Quiero, en primer lugar, destacar la enorme satisfacción que para mí y para el Gobierno de España supone haber podido recibir aquí en Málaga a los ministros Nouris, Mitarachi, Lamorgese y Camilleri. Queridos colegas, es un placer ser vuestro anfitrión en un encuentro con el que hemos querido dar continuidad al que pudimos disfrutar ya el pasado mes de marzo en Atenas y que tú organizaste, Notης. Aquella reunión nos sirvió para constatar que en nuestros 5 países que conforman la frontera exterior de la Unión Europea más expuesta a la presión migratoria, compartimos el interés en mantener una posición coordinada y visible para los demás socios europeos sobre hacia dónde debe encaminarse la futura política migratoria y de asilo para que sea siempre más equilibrada, más justa, más realista y también más europea. Creo que hoy hemos consolidado esa voluntad de aportar propuestas compartidas al resto de nuestros socios en la Unión, propuestas que recogen la realidad migratoria a la que nos enfrentamos diariamente y que deben estar reflejadas en la definición de la política europea de migración y asilo, y más concretamente en la propuesta del pacto presentado por la Comisión hace ya un año. Fruto del clima de consenso que ha reinado durante los debates que hemos mantenido a lo largo de la mañana y previamente nuestros equipos técnicos, hemos aprobado una declaración conjunta cuyo contenido íntegro os facilitaremos al término de esta comparecencia, de la que quiero, no obstante, destacar algunos extremos. En primer lugar, los cinco países coincidimos en que la política migratoria de la Unión Europea debe tener como eje fundamental y prioritario la prevención de los flujos migratorios mediante la cooperación con los países de origen y con los países de tránsito. Consideramos que priorizar esta dimensión exterior de la política migratoria europea es la manera, sin duda alguna, más eficaz de lograr una gestión legal, una gestión ordenada y siempre segura de los flujos migratorios y evitar siempre la pérdida de vidas humanas. Esta estrategia preventiva debe contar con una financiación adecuada que aborde de forma proporcionada, previsible y flexible todas las rutas migratorias hacia la Unión Europea, de modo que puedan desarrollarse proyectos que refuercen en todo caso las capacidades operativas e institucionales tanto de los países de origen y de tránsito en la lucha contra la migración irregular y la trata de seres humanos. Creemos que la Unión debe adoptar un papel mucho más activo en la dimensión exterior y adoptar mecanismos eficaces de reparto equitativo de la responsabilidad y solidaridad, incluyendo la reubicación para aquellos Estados miembros que nos enfrentamos, como he dicho al inicio, a una presión migratoria como consecuencia de nuestra posición geográfica. El contenido de la declaración a la que he hecho referencia y que hemos aprobado hoy es más amplio, pero como van a tenerla, la vais a tener a disposición de inmediato, no voy a alargarme mucho más. Quiero, en cambio, dar la palabra a mis queridos colegas para que puedan transmitiros su propia visión sobre el encuentro. En primer lugar, tiene la palabra el ministro Notης. Nikos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Fernando. Dear Minister, dear Fernando, dear friends, allow me first of all to thank Minister Fernando and the Spanish government for this initiative to organize a meeting of the Mediterranean Ministers of Migration and Internal Affairs, and for the great hospitality. Thank you. Following on the successful meeting in Athens, we had very fruitful discussions today with my fellow ministers, especially in relation to our common views on how the EU should develop a more comprehensive migration and asylum policy. Also, to tackle irregular migration and effectively enhance returns. Preventing irregular migration at its roots before reaching the Union's external borders will inevitably benefit the frontline member states, which face the largest burden of migratory flows, but the EU as a whole as well. We very much regret the fact that, despite the introduction of decisive measures taken on a national level, Cyprus continues to receive high numbers of irregular arrivals, mainly from Turkey, and via the occupied areas and the Green Line, as a result of migrant instrumentalization. Only until the beginning of September 2021, Cyprus received more than 8,000 first-time applications in a small country with a population less than 1 million and with Syrians being the top nationality in asylum application. Allow me to express my appreciation towards my fourth colleagues to include a clear reference in our joint statement in relation to the particularities and migratory challenges arising from the Green Line, which is the ceasefire line in Cyprus. No matter how much effort we make, no matter how many resources are made available, unless there is a coordinated, fair and balanced EU migration policy based on solidarity, we will continue to suffer from these pressures with all the consequences for both the frontline member states and the Union itself. And let's be honest, it seems we will need to go a long way until we will be able to reach an agreement on a new, effective, common framework, namely the new pact, while we experience further deterioration of migration. The Met5 today, being the member states facing the majority of irregular influx, agreed to request the Commission, in parallel to the negotiation to the pact, to proceed urgently with these 3 pillars. First, border management in order to limit further deterioration of illegal migration. Secondly, bilateral agreements between the EU and key third countries with a view to create robust cooperation in the area of returns. And thirdly, the EU needs to promote return to safe third countries, preferably on a commonly agreed list. The Met5 had already shown their solidarity to other member states affected by migratory pressures, such as Lithuania, Poland, and Latvia. We therefore expect the same from our EU counterparts to defend ourselves from phenomena of instrumentalization of migration. On the critical developments in Afghanistan, it is clear the EU needs to avert potential mass migratory movements from Afghanistan towards member states. The European Union should finance and assist the creation of sustainable reception and hosting structures in areas neighboring with Afghanistan, with the aim of creating safe hubs for people in need. We will continue to engage in constructive discussion with a view to create a new, fair, and robust asylum and migration system. In view of the EU Home Affairs meeting on the 8th of October in Luxembourg, we should emphasize once again both the need for fair responsibility sharing as well as the need for the aforementioned effective measures to manage migratory pressures. I would like to thank you again, my fellow ministers, and wish a safe return to our home countries.
Thank you so much, Nikos. I give the floor now to Minister Nottis Mitarachi.
Thank you, Fernando. Can I also thank our esteemed colleague, Fernando, the Minister of Interior of Spain, for his very kind hospitality for the initiative to host the second meeting of the group of the Med 5 countries. We had the opportunity, together with our friends, Minister of Spain, Italy, Cyprus, and Malta, with whom we are in regular contact and cooperation, to discuss various issues related to migration management in Europe and to further coordinate our positions regarding the crucial negotiation of the new pact on migration and asylum, 1 year after the presentation of the Commission's initial proposal. As reaffirmed in our joint statement, our key priority is to tackle illegal migration and fight the smugglers' network, challenges to which were considerably faced as frontline member states of the European Union and that overburden our migration and asylum systems, not only those of our 5 countries, but of the EU as a whole. In this regard, we have set a series of main objectives on which we are focusing our action. First, preventing illegal arrivals through the support to and the cooperation with origin and transit countries. Turkey is, of course, an important actor that needs our help, but at the same time has to deliver on its own commitments towards the European Union, including under the 2016 EU-Turkey joint statement. Secondly, by continuing the active and effective protection of the external borders of the European Union in full respect of international and European law. Thirdly, reinforcing returns of illegal migrants and those not entitled to international protection through a centralized European mechanism. And finally, achieving a fair and sustainable common European policy resistant to any efforts of abuse of the asylum acquis and ensuring the necessary solidarity and participation of all member states in cases of migration pressure, without, of course, leaving the member states at the external borders, like our 5 countries, overexposed to disproportionate burden and responsibilities. Having said that, we believe that the pact is not a precondition for action, since we can deliver better results on the 3 aspects of external dimension, border protection, and common returns already under the existing legal framework. The recent events in the Lithuanian borders and the crisis in Afghanistan have underlined the need for timely and concerted action on behalf of the European Union for preventing mass illegal flows and a migratory crisis similar to that of 2015. It was also made clear that Europe must engage in innovative policies for building resilience against the instrumentalization of migration by third parties as well as human trafficking. We, the ministers of the 5 Mediterranean frontline countries, are determined to continue our joint effort for achieving a balanced and effective migration policy and to promote with unity and resolve our position, concerns, and priority. There is an agreement on adopting at EU level the regulation on the new European Asylum Agency, achieved thanks to the constructive attitude of our countries, has shown that we're ready to be flexible when needed in a spirit of compromise. We expect our European partners to demonstrate their readiness to reciprocate. Dear Fernando, I would like to express our gratitude for the warm hospitality in Malaga, in this marvelous location, and for offering us the opportunity to hold 2 days of intensive and thorough talks, exchanges, and interaction. Thank you, Fernando.
Thank you so much, Minister Mitarazzi. And now I give the floor to Minister Lamborghese. Thank you, Luciana.
Grazie Fernando per aver organizzato questo incontro che dopo quello di Atene del 20 marzo ci ha consentito di aggiungere un altro tassello che consolida il fronte dei paesi mediterranei dell'Unione Europea. Il gruppo Med 5 ci vede uniti e pronti anche in vista del prossimo semestre europeo a guida francese per portare avanti al meglio la trattativa in corso a Bruxelles con controproposte che rendano il patto immigrazione e asilo presentato dalla Commissione più equilibrato nella sua stesura finale. L'immigrazione non è un fenomeno congiunturale, è un fenomeno strutturale che ci accompagnerà ancora per molto tempo e che va affrontato con strumenti e meccanismi adeguati. Servirà altro tempo e molto impegno per mettere a punto meccanismi finalizzati a non far ricadere l'onere della gestione dei flussi migratori soltanto sui Paesi membri che si trovano a presidiare la frontiera esterna dell'Unione Europea. L'Italia non ha fatto mai mistero che nella proposta del patto fin qui elaborata ci sono punti per noi, ma per noi Italia, ma per noi Paesi Med 5 ancora inaccettabili. Tuttavia il nostro Paese ha sempre mantenuto una posizione dialogante e costruttiva a livello politico nei tavoli tecnici per garantire che venga raggiunto quell'imprescindibile punto di equilibrio tra responsabilità e solidarietà, in assenza della quale la politica europea di gestione dei flussi migratori non potrà avere un futuro. Con gli altri ministri dei Paesi mediterranei dell'Unione abbiamo convenuto sul principio secondo il quale il dialogo con i Paesi terzi rimane uno degli strumenti principali per affrontare il fenomeno migratorio alla sua radice. E abbiamo anche sottolineato la necessità che i piani europei di partenariati strategici con i Paesi terzi siano sempre più ispirati a principi di concretezza, operatività e possano contare su adeguate e ambiziose risorse finanziarie. Nella cornice di questi partenariati con i Paesi terzi, l'aspetto dei rimpatri europei risulta strategico e una maggiore proiezione esterna, anche politica, dell'Unione Europea è del resto sempre più necessaria, come è stato dimostrato anche dalla recente crisi afghana, in relazione alla quale abbiamo avuto tutti un impegno secondo le proprie possibilità e l'Italia in particolare ha accolto circa 5.000 profughi dall'Afghanistan. Dopo la riunione di oggi posso dire che l'Italia non è più sola su queste posizioni e di questo ringrazio davvero Fernando per aver voluto riunirci ancora una volta e aver trovato una strada comune da poter portare avanti in Europa, e la prossima riunione sarà proprio quella del GAI il prossimo 8 ottobre. Grazie ancora per l'ospitalità.
Grazie Luciana. Now I give the floor to Minister Camilleri.
Thank you, Fernando. Today's meeting between the ministers of Malta, Italy, Spain, Greece, and Cyprus are taking place on the first anniversary since the launch of the EU's new Pact on Migration and Asylum in September 2020. I wish to thank Fernando for hosting us here in Malaga in order to resume our discussions on the important subject of migration, as well as getting the opportunity to explain the common challenges affecting our countries. In 2021, the European Union has been responding to new migratory pressures, mainly from Belarus. At the same time, the world is watching closely the developments in Afghanistan and the potential ramifications that the return of the Taliban could have on us all, on the European Union. During the unfolding of these exceptional events, the southern Mediterranean continued to experience significant migratory pressure, which, save for a few exceptions, exceeds the record numbers that we faced in 2019, that we faced in 2020. 12 months after the launch of the new pact by the Commission, cooperation with third countries remain the most effective tool available to us to ease the pressure caused by thousands of migrants who could have otherwise reached our shores. We knew from the very beginning that negotiations on the pact were not going to be an easy feat. Even if all member states are in some way or another affected by irregular migration, the different realities in different member states are still making it difficult for the priorities of the 27 member states to converge. I believe that the consensus reached on the setting up of the European Union Asylum Agency has been a very positive step in the right direction. We managed to set the wheels in motion on the EUAA only because us, the frontline member states, frontline Mediterranean countries, were willing to compromise. Obviously, without undermining the need to retain the package approach. Regretfully, the same level of compromise is not being reciprocated with frontline countries where solidarity is concerned. We do not agree with moves intended to fragment the different items of the pact, especially if such developments would continue to diminish the prospects of mandatory sharing of migrants. Our countries are already carrying enough responsibilities. Once again, we are repeating our call that we shall not be accepting additional burden if no developments are made to help us deal in an effective manner with this European problem. We are also repeating our call for common sense to prevail with respect to ideas such as border procedures, which makes perfect sense at air and possibly also land borders. However, would make the situation worse for countries with sea borders, or small island states like us, Malta, such, also like Cyprus, who only have sea borders. Thirdly, in line with the joint statement that we have approved today, I wish to call on the Commission and other member states not to abandon our original plans to distinguish between illegal entry into the European Union and disembarkation of migrants resulting from search and rescue activities. The former is the result of deficiency in the management of external borders. However, search and rescue, on the other hand, is a fulfillment of an international obligation. At this stage, Malta believes that the European Union should focus more on what unites us and not what divides us. There is a broad consensus on cooperation with neighboring and transit countries to strengthen their capacity to deal with people smuggling, as well as countries of origin to create more opportunities for its younger generations and increase cooperation on returns. This is the first in our list of priorities, and Malta's experience in the past year has shown that tangible cooperation with countries of transit could lead to decline in migratory flows. Today, we are underlining the importance and adequate and proportionate funding to all our partners in migratory routes. In this respect, I welcome the European Commission's commitment to produce action plans for priority countries along the migratory routes towards Europe. Third countries situated just outside the EU's borders consider the European Union as a partner. Therefore, we should be joining forces with them on specific and detailed targets reached through the implementation of pre-agreed projects and reviewed together with our non-EU partners on a continuous basis. An international phenomenon needs international solutions. It is up to us as a bloc to start making things differently in the interest of our people and in the interest of those risking their lives to reach our shores. Thank you.
Thank you, Byron. Thank you, Minister. Muchas gracias, ministra, ministros, queridos colegas, por vuestra presencia hoy en Málaga y por el clima de confianza y cooperación que ha presidido la reunión que acabamos de celebrar, así como las reuniones, que siempre hay que decirlo, de nuestros equipos técnicos que trabajan el día a día, codo con codo, para formar realmente esa común opinión y elemento de decisión en un tema, en una cuestión tan esencial. Para concluir esta comparecencia, quiero destacar también que como colofón a nuestro encuentro, los 5 hemos reafirmado nuestra voluntad de seguir defendiendo de manera conjunta y siempre consensuada nuestra visión común de la política migratoria y asilo, sobre todo en las negociaciones del Pacto Europeo de Migración y Asilo, donde es esencial garantizar la coherencia y la viabilidad práctica de todas las propuestas políticas que se hagan. La migración no es un desafío, como ha dicho la ministra Lamorgese, coyuntural, sino que es estructural, que necesita de soluciones a medio y largo plazo, métodos permanentes y durables y financiación asegurada y flexible, como también han referido el conjunto de ministros. Por eso celebro que seamos capaces de trabajar de manera conjunta para defender aquellos elementos que nos unen y potenciarlos. Chipre, Grecia, Italia, Malta y España queremos seguir trabajando para que el Pacto Europeo de Migración y Asilo contenga todos aquellos ingredientes que podemos aportar desde nuestra experiencia, desde experiencia de largos años, y enriquecer así el futuro de la Unión Europea. Ahora toca seguir trabajando a nivel técnico, como decía, para que los expedientes normativos en los que la presidencia eslovena propone avanzar, como son el reglamento de Eurodac o el screening, lo hagan, pero siempre que respondan a ese objetivo que decíamos de coherencia y adecuación al principio de justo reparto de la responsabilidad y de solidaridad que recoge el artículo 80 del Tratado de Funcionamiento de la Unión. Nadie mejor que nosotros, que a diario rescatamos personas en el mar, conoce el drama y la terrible realidad de la migración irregular. Por eso Chipre, Grecia, Italia, Malta y España queremos poner en valor todo aquello que tenemos en común y defenderlo en Bruselas, para que nuestra voz, para que nuestra visión del desafío migratorio sean centrales en la política europea. Europa, como decimos, necesita y merece una política migratoria basada en la solidaridad, en la responsabilidad y en la humanidad. Europa necesita una política, por lo tanto, más equilibrada, más justa, realista y, por eso, como decía al principio, también más europea. La declaración conjunta que hoy hemos adoptado recoge cuestiones cruciales para nosotros. Por eso quiero de nuevo agradecer a mis 4 colegas su presencia aquí y la actitud, como decía, constructiva que habéis mostrado durante nuestro encuentro. Estoy convencido por todo ello que seremos capaces de hacer valer todo el conocimiento que atesoramos en beneficio de la Unión Europea y de todos sus Estados miembros. Y, por tanto, seguiremos trabajando coordinadamente. Muchas gracias y cualquier pregunta que deseéis realizar. Sí, no sé si hay la posibilidad porque se escucha mal. A ver,